This last week also set an interesting precedent. This has to do with a judge in Los Angeles and two famous food companies, Nestle and Cargill. These are two monster corporations, major players in the world of megacorps in the food business. And they had gotten themselves into trouble because it turns out that in Mali and Ivory Coast, the countries from which most of the cocoa comes that goes into the chocolate that we eat and that Nestle and Cargill process, it turns out that many of the people working in the cocoa fields are children. It turns out many of them are slaves. That's right, children bought and sold in or between Mali and the Ivory Coast in Africa. So to your wonderment, is there still slavery in Africa? The answer is an unqualified, absolutely yes. More than 1 million children, just as background, some as young as 5, pick cocoa pods and then crack them open in the Ivory Coast and perform other manual labor under sometimes hazardous conditions. 6 of them found a lawyer. That's 6 child slaves. And they told the following story. They were taken to the Ivory Coast from Mali. They were sold to plantations in the 1990s. They worked 14 hours a day under armed guard without pay 6 days a week. They slept on floors of locked rooms, were given only food scraps. Those caught trying to escape were severely beaten, etc., etc. If this sounds familiar, it is. These are the stories of slavery that one has heard if one has not been asleep. Only it happens now. And so a few of these ex-slaves got a lawyer and brought suit in the United States claiming that Nestle's and Cargill knowingly did business with, provided funding for, the local authorities who were running this slave labor operation. These companies were stung. Both of them, Nestle's and Cargill, recently, and that is in recent years, set up offices to monitor and to be concerned about corporate responsibility. And they were proud and advertised their corporate responsibility programs. Anyway, they insisted that they had nothing to do with it, that they shouldn't be brought up with this was not their responsibility, they didn't buy or sell these slaves, the usual. The corporation's defense persuaded the judge. So why am I telling you about this sad outcome in which these abused children were unable to find justice in an American court? The reason is I want you to understand the logic of the judge and the victorious corporate lawyers. They wanted the judge to rule the way he did, they argued, because if he didn't, corporations would have no reason to set up corporate responsibility offices, because it wouldn't work. It wouldn't protect them from such lawsuits. I found this amazing. The corporate responsibility program clearly didn't prevent these companies from engaging in business with people doing slave labor about which these companies, of course, had to know. Didn't work, these corporate responsibility programs, very well, did they? So if the court found against these companies and they stopped doing it, what difference would it make? Extraordinary, the way legal reasoning sometimes works. Extraordinary what is going on in the United States, in our court system, and the way we earn the money we believe we need as a society.